Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You are in the Prog Corner where we are doing our, well, I don't even know because we don't do the counting thing. Like you're told, YouTube 101, don't number your episodes. It's a stupid thing to do. Oh, this is episode number 174. You feel compelled. Well, do I need to watch the first 173? You don't. You can come in any day, any Sunday, 11 a.m. We're here live. It's the only live Sunday prog stream on all of YouTube. And today, I've got a special guest, Kevin. You know who we've got today. It's Brian Coombes from Rocking Horse Music Club. And we're going to be talking about the dreaded concept album, something our guest might know a thing or two about, right? Kevin, you think he might know?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know if you were asking me or Brian that. Yeah. No, Brian's the king of concept. His last two albums, very well. Yeah, the last two particularly. So,
and we can even go back a bit further in my history if we have time. My first venture into concept albums was back in 1998, and I actually have a copy of that.
Do show. We love show and tell. Let's see what
that was with your band.
That was with Tristan Park.
Yeah.
And it's right here. It was called Looking Homeward. It was our third album, and it was a concept album. Tristan Park had spent a lot of time touring in Europe, and our record prior to that was very Anglo-focused. And we decided we wanted to go back and focus on American themes and remind ourselves that we were American. So there are a couple of there are two songs based on an American tragedy, which is a Theodore Dreiser novel from the 1920s. As we'll probably hear today, my background is in American literature. That was what my undergraduate degree is in particular, 20th century American novelists. So, so this record has a 30-minute suite, two songs, An American Tragedy, Part 1 and Part 2, that was based on Theodore Dreiser's novel. So, this was kind of my first foray into that.
And what are the chances of anyone finding a copy of that on Discogs?
That's a really good question. I haven't really looked into it. It was our final record, and by the time it was out, the band was over. Yeah. So we did do a quick tour of Europe for that record, and we played some shows around New England. But then the band we amicably parted ways. People were getting
I know you opened for Marillion at one point with that band.
We opened for Marillion in 1997. Steve Rothery actually came to on our tour in 1996. It was actually, we were calling it the honeymoon tour because Michelle and I had gotten married, and we decided to bring the boys from the band with us to Europe, and we did a European tour with the boys. And Steve Rothery had read about it. It was in the early days of the internet, right? So there were Usenet groups, right? Rec music, Marillion, right, alt music, whatever it was. And Steve Rothery was kind of following that. So he showed up at our gig. I think it was in Aylesbury, which is, Marillion country. And, he said, oh, well, I had to come out and see the honeymoon tour. And he remembered our performance that day. And then a year later, I got an email from Mark Kelly saying, Rothery saw you guys in Aylesbury, thought you were good, to be interested in opening for us in Boston. So we did the show at the Somerville Theater with them, and they treated us really well. They were good guys. And that was on the This Strange Engine tour. So I've got special memories of that record.
So now we've got a brand new one. We buried the lead pretty good. We're almost 5 minutes in, Kevin, and we haven't. There we go. Here we go. It's what the boys and girls really want to know about. It's the brand new Rocking Horse Music Club record. I'm going to make you big here so everybody can see that beautiful album cover. And you'd mentioned that you were a major in literature. Therefore, the whole Jack Kerouac angle kind of makes sense to me now, right? why did you decide to go with the haunted life as a theme? And does Kerouac mean something special to you? Are you like a Kerouac guy?
There are a lot of connections, to me. Jack Kerouac and I share a common literary influence. He and I were both influenced by an American novelist from North Carolina named Thomas Wolfe. And Thomas Wolfe was the inspiration from our previous concept album, A Circus of Wire Dolls. So Jim Sampis, the literary executor of the Kerouac estate, I was mixing a record for him. He's a singer-songwriter, and we worked together here at the studio. And it was right around the time Circus of Wire Dolls had come out, and he liked that record, and he knew that it was Thomas Wolfe inspired, and he said, there it is, thank you. And he mentioned, hey, that Kerouac was a big Wolfe fan. And I said, yeah, no, I was aware of that. And he said, do you think we could do something similar with one of Jack's works? And he proposed The Haunted Life. Now, Jack is from Lowell, Massachusetts. I went to my undergraduate degree is from the University of Massachusetts at Lowell. So that's kind of Jack's town. So being an American literature student in Lowell, I was well aware of Jack, but I had read the greatest hits, and my favorite Jack Kerouac stuff was the stuff that kind of the early works where he was developed before he had developed his own voice. He was kind of, as we all do as artists, he was kind of mimicking his heroes. So he was mimicking Thomas Wolfe, and I just loved that. So The Haunted Life was him kind of developing his own voice, but in the style of Thomas Wolfe. So I absolutely related to it. It's a coming of age story, growing up along the banks of the Merrimack River. I grew up on the Merrimack River just north of Lowell in southern New Hampshire. So there were a lot of parallels and a lot of things that I could connect with.
Definitely. And I think that has a lot to do with, stuff like this. There's so many great artists out there, and we look at the prog sphere, and you look at, the records that I choose to talk about, or the records that I choose to review, the artists that I choose to have on the Sunday live prog stream. I get it. It's tough because I'm guessing there's probably 1,000 prog albums that will come out in 2025. Somewhere near 1,000 records I would qualify as some form of prog rock. So it's really, really difficult. So, my heart goes out to those friendly folks in the UK, in London, working their butts off at Prog Magazine, that apparently need to wake up and smell the roses to Rocking Horse Music Club. I hear you guys are ignoring them. Jerry Ewing, I'm calling you out right here live on the Sunday Prog stream. It's Rocking Horse Music Club. It's Tony Banks. Not only is a guest on here, talk about burying the lead. We're at the 8.5 minute mark. First time we've mentioned the name Tony Banks. At the 8.5 minute mark, it's just a crime. Somebody needs to shoot the host, but Tony Banks not only appears on this album, he co-writes a song on the album. Let's talk a little bit about that, Brian, because I think that's what a lot of people want to hear. The Tony Banks story. It blows my mind. Obviously, I'm wearing the Trick of the Tail shirt, so clearly I'm a fan.
Yeah, well, so am I. I think we just got lucky. We were in the right place at the right time. When Jim Sampis and I were talking about the record, we were thinking about, did we want special guests? And, he had mentioned that you've worked with some of the Genesis guys. You think anybody would be interested? And then he specifically mentioned Tony Banks. And I, as a Genesis fan, I know that Tony hasn't made many or any, depending on who you ask, guest appearances on records.
Yeah, the question was asked. I think yesterday I had a whole bunch of people saying, because I posted something on Facebook about you and Tony, and people were like, when has this happened before? And I'm like, I honestly can't think of it happening before. So that is an amazing coup.
Yeah, well, I think he did write a couple of pieces for an opera singer in Britain named John Potter, but he didn't play on the record. So I think it all depends on how you define it,
There you
right?
go.
I mean, he has a co-writing credit on a Mike and the Mechanics record and a Phil Collins record, but
Yeah,
he didn't.
those guys don't count, obviously.
You know,
Yeah.
so, but so it Tony's involvement in this record flat out would not have happened without Richard McPhail. Richard was a good friend of Tony's and Peter's, and I got to know him because he came to our shows in 2019. Those were the Aunt Phillips shows that we did at Trading Boundaries in England. And then he came in and was the narrator for the Circus of Wire Dolls shows, because we had thought, we wanted to present Circus of Wire Dolls as a theatrical thing, but, Pat and Justin and I aren't actors, and dancers. And so we weren't going to we're musicians. So we just wanted to play the songs, but we wanted to have a through line for it. So I wrote a script, and Rich came in as the narrator for that. And he read that narration. We kind of set it up as the narrator was the roadie, the road manager of the circus. Somebody that was a vital cog to the machine, but was never in the limelight. And Rich read that script.
Somebody kind of like Rich in the early history of Genesis. For those that don't know, this cat was so vital to the band that he appears on the back of Genesis Live. They're talking about him. That's Richard McPhail, and a lot of people thought he was dead.
Yeah, right.
That record came out.
Right, yeah, right. Because they said who departed in 73 or whatever it was. Yeah,
right.
No, I don't think we would be celebrating Genesis the way we still do today had it not been for Rich's energy. I mean, Tony said that to me. Aunt Phillips has said that to me, that without Rich and that positive energy that he brought always to the end of his life, he was responsible for the energy. So
he was the first true believer. Jonathan King doesn't count because he was just a believer in money.
Yeah, that's right.
Rich was like the true believer. I think every band needs that. Where there's somebody that believes so much that they're willing to sacrifice so much of their time, money, energy for this elusive thing called art. It's just it's incredible. What a great human being.
So I sent Rich an email saying, I'm doing this project with Kerouac Estate. Do you think Tony would be interested in being involved in any way? And he says, I don't know, Brian, it sounds interesting to me. Write something up and I'll forward it to Tony. And so we wrote something up and sent it to Tony. And the next thing I know, Rich was sending an email saying, hey, Tony's CC'd on this. I'll let you guys talk. And, every step of the way, Tony was like, yeah, that sounds good, Brian. Yeah, that sounds good, Brian. And I kept giving him off ramps like, hey, if you don't want to do this, or if this isn't right, no worries. But he kept saying yes, to the point where we were getting together in England a couple of times to talk about things and to work on things. And right up until a couple of weeks ago when I visited with him in London, he was like, hey, if you're going to be in London, I'm going to be in London on Tuesday. Come on, come by and visit, and we'll have a chat. But none of that would have happened without Richard McPhail. And that's the reason we dedicated the song to him on the album.
Yeah. Unbelievable. That's amazing. We are, in fact, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. We are, in fact, going to listen to a song with hopefully
we're going to more than that. We're going to world debut premiere. Nobody's seen this video before. And I don't think they're going to get to see it for a while, right? When are you going to release the video to the whole world?
So after today, stay tuned, but it'll be at least a week, because right now we're in that flush of, we've just released the album and there's a lot of excitement. So I don't want to, This is a remarkable video.
You're getting a weak jump on the whole world, Scott, with the world of the, and this is the Tony Banks song, right?
It is, yes.
All right.
What? Okay, what's it called here again?
This is The Haunted Life.
The Haunted Life. It's the third track off of the new Rocking Horse Music Club record, which follows this one here, the Circus of Wire Dolls. Kevin, did you or did you not have this as your #1 album of the year?
It was our album of the year for 2022, and we're not alone in the ones that did that. I know when you sent me the CD for this new album, it had a list of all the other awards and stuff that thing had won. So we like to think that we were some groundbreaking, but a lot of people love that album. So if people don't know about it, it's a great record.
So we've got a brand new record. The Last Pink Glow just came out Friday. You can pick it up at rockinghorsemusicclub.com if you're in the U.S. For those of you beautiful people in the U.K., hey, guess what? We got you covered. Burning Shed's got this, right?
Yes, Burning Shed is kind of the center of activity for us in the UK.
Awesome.
Okay, should we watch the video?
This is the world premiere right here on the Prog Corner. Oh, this is amazing. Do you want to say anything else about it, or are we ready?
Just go ahead and roll it. We can talk on the other side if you want.
Let's do it. Here we go.
Summer's here, and in this moment we live a haunted life as we bid farewell to the carefree days of venture forth without knowing in a time of strife, and there's silence now for a moment. In a certain hush, our truths revealed too much, a stone, a leaf, a river.
You can tell that's Tony Banks.
Sounds like a Yamaha CP70 to me.
Knowing that we're living a haunted life. If we're silent now and we listen, we can hear the guns at night. Little do we know we're out of time. Summer's warmth will be fading, and this we know is true, as it fades to an evanescent blue. In a certain hush, our truths reveal too much, a stone, a leaf, a river's rush. Now in the thaw of this year's spring, winter touches everything, knowing that we're living a haunted life. Soft squares of gold falling from the windows on the hazy summer nights. The lights of our town glow and glow. Summer comes to our hometown. The world outside is exploding. We venture forth without knowing in a haunted life.
Nice. That was awesome. Very Tony Banks. No question about it.
Yeah, right from the first notes. You know, a couple of I was reading the comments, and I know Kevin, you and I were talking about who people tend to think Justin sounds like. Christopher Cross. I know there was a comment about one of the people commenting that was Christopher Cross. So, but yeah, so that was that video was actually shot last weekend. Matt Michaud and Nathan Richer, who are both two guys. They're both musicians who have worked here at the studio, and they're both former students at the school where Michelle, my wife, teaches in Manchester, New Hampshire. So really talented guys. And yeah, Matt is a filmmaker. And I tried to get Tony to be in the video, but you know, he always loves to say that Land of Confusion is his favorite Genesis video because he didn't have to be in it. So I couldn't convince him.
Yeah, he's not a showboater.
And because of that, I thought, well, if Tony's not going to be in it, what am I going to be there playing the CP70? You know, and no, I mean it's Tony. It's Tony. Can't hide the fact, and I wasn't going to try to go and fake that.
Although I think that was a tasteful way you did it. I think that was clever how you ended up doing it.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I basically just said to Matt, like, go and make a short film, and I requested certain things, you know, walks along the Merrimack River. He should be reading a Thomas Wolfe novel at some point. So that's, you know, kind of a fictionalized version of a young Jack Kerouac, because that's essentially what the Haunted Life story is. Jack used to type with a big roll of paper like that, like you saw in the video. And something that was serendipitous that I didn't mention to Matt, there are a couple of lines, the stone, a leaf, a river, which is very much a Thomas Wolfe inspired lyric from me. Thomas Wolfe's dad was a stone cutter who used to make gravestones. So just as that line was playing, Matt had cut to scenes of the young Jack in the cemetery, which was just kind of a serendipitous moment that I thought was really poetic.
Nice. We can't hear you, Scott. You got your mic muted.
I muted myself.
There you go.
Hey, let's give some love to the people that are on this record. Justin Cohn, we alluded to, lead vocalist on that track. You get credit as vocalist on this record also, right? You sing lead on any of these tracks?
No, this is the first Rocking Horse Music Club record that we've done that is exclusively Justin.
Okay. I thought so.
Yeah, because Circus of Wire Dolls, it being kind of a rock opera, requires
everywhere,
characters.
Yeah.
And I thought that kind of obscured the fact that we have such an amazing singer in Justin that I wanted to just be him exclusively. But yeah, I sing background vocals, and one of our new guitar players, Andrew Rotuno, sings background vocals with me.
Andrew Rotuno plays the guitars and vocals. Brendan on bass. How do you say his last name?
Harrisades.
Brendan Harrisades. Some really good bass lines on here. Some real tasty stuff. Great tone. Myron Kibbe on guitar also.
Yep, Myron Kibbe was the only guitar player on the song that we just listened to.
Had this solo there.
Nice. Mike McAdam also gets credited on guitar.
Yep.
And Eric Wagley on drums. Rounds it out.
Yep. Mike McAdam goes all the way back to my Tristan Park days and was the lead guitar player on that Tristan Park album I talked about earlier.
Oh, cool.
And then Eric Wagley has been my studio session drummer since the studio opened almost 20 years ago.
Rock solid instrumentation on there. And you can tell that there's some chemistry there, right? It's not just a studio concoction, just, getting some people together. You can tell that there's some time and some chemistry that really shows on this record.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we've played together a lot, and, we enjoy each other's company. I would be remiss, the background harmonies on the Haunted Life, knowing, Tony Banks is a big Beach Boys fan, and I'm a big Beach Boys fan. So I decided to write that background vocal arrangement.
Oh, okay.
And so that's Andrew and I on the males singing in that. But then it's Evelyn Cormier, a local singer-songwriter named Katie Dobbins, and a former Miss New Hampshire, Caroline Carter. Those people, apart from Katie, Evelyn and Caroline, both had lead vocal appearances on Circus of Wire Dolls. So yeah, we tracked those live as a group, each of us singing those parts, to try to make it sound kind of like something Brian Wilson would have done on a Beach Boys record.
Well, I am really, really happy that we were able to debut that song. Its world premiere was right here live in the Prog Corner. And Kevin, thank you for your technical wizardry, because the people in the chat clearly were a little happier with the audio quality today than on previous episodes. I guess I've learned my lesson, right? I guess I need to, leave the technical stuff to the guy that's running a radio station, not one, not two, but three radio stations. And I think I'm going to do a better job. So Kevin, thank you. Amazing. I'm glad that we were able to give the people the debut that this record really deserves.
Yeah, I felt bad for Advent Horizon last week. We could barely hear theirs.
I know. Oops. My bad.
But the album just came out on Friday, so people can go and get it and listen to it. That's right. The whole thing is a great album.
I love it. I've been listening to it. Well, you sent it to me a couple of weeks ago, and so yeah, I've been listening to it for about 2 weeks. Love it. It's absolutely dynamite. But Zeb mentioned in the comments that we weren't getting enough likes, and you know what happens when you do a live stream, right? YouTube decides how much it's going to push it out onto people's home screens based on their little data points, one of which is the like button. So please hit that like button for the live stream so we can push it out in the last remaining 32 minutes or so of this live stream, so we can get some live views, as should happen for an event of this magnitude. I can't believe we just had it at world premiere. Another order of bookkeeping before we get back to our illustrious guest is, a momentous occasion, Kevin. It really is. We started the Prog Corner 3.5 years ago, and look, boys and girls, I checked my analytics before we went live here. We're agonizingly close. Oh no, look at that. Oh no. Oh.
You need
I can't do math.
750 more.
So yeah, we will hit 2 million views today, probably hitting it right now during this live stream. So I just want to say to all of you people watching, and all of you that have ever watched one of these silly little videos that we do here every Sunday, thank you so much. It's every Sunday at 11 a.m. Do not forget it. And another order of bookkeeping, next week is very important. It's an important week for me personally, in that it's my wife's birthday week. So expect a very light schedule. I don't know how much time I'll have to, dilly-dally on the YouTube. My precious wife, her birthday is this week coming up. And secondarily, and more importantly, is it's going to be the return of the son of clickbait week. Oh, and I got to prepare for it. I got to get all my notes in order, my thumbnails all on point. It's going to be amazing. I just can't wait to, just go negative and talk a bunch of smack all week. It's just so much fun.
10 worst drummers of Prague.
10 worst this, 10 worst that, things I hate. Oh, yeah. I don't know why, but every single time, and I tested it. Both Pete Pardo and I stress tested it, in that we both did episodes back to back, our 10 favorite things in this world and our 10 least favorite things. And I wonder on both channels which one did better. Yeah. You know which did better. It's the 10 things I hate. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Yeah, Mrs. Prog Corner. We're very happy that she's made it another year with Mr. Prog Corner. I don't know why she puts up with me. I really don't. But thank God for Mrs. Prog Corner, because without her, there would be no Prog Corner. Absolutely. So yes, we love you, baby. She's probably doing dishes or, sweeping the floor, or she's doing something hard, manual labor, while
on
her
Mother's
husband's in
Day,
here doing absolutely nothing. Oh yeah, good husband I am. But no, we
should say Happy Mother's Day to every mother that's out there listening. By the way,
you can tell I don't have kids.
Yeah, well, I do. Happy Mother's Day.
I appreciate that.
And Miss Prog Radio just had her birthday 2 days ago, so.
Very, very nice. There you go. Yes, happy Mother's Day. Although, I do have a mother, so.
There you go.
Happy Mother's Day. Everybody has a mother. So it's rough that we're doing this every single Sunday, but you know what? It's the hard work that pays off in the end, boys and girls. You like to see me sweat. You like to see me toil. That Nad Sylvan interview, speaking of which, doing pretty good numbers. People don't seem to mind. I posted that.
You didn't edit it, huh?
No,
wow.
I didn't edit it. No, sir. Bobcat tail. In case you missed it yesterday, little kiddies, we had a Nat Sylvan on the show. Me and Kevin we're excited. We're ready to go. And Nad is in a hotel room in Germany somewhere, and his connection is just garbage. It's terrible. And I'm like, man, I'm glad this isn't live. And it took about 10 minutes for him to finally get a good connection. And I'm thinking, should we just start this all over again? And me being an idiot, I'm like, nope, let's just keep going. So the train kept rolling, and I think we
were just shooting the bull, watching that come and go.
I think the more I sweat, I think the more people enjoyed it. It's actually doing good numbers. So yeah, check that out. But our guest
he's a nice guy. I was surprised how cool he was, because if you see him live, he's a strutter, like these lead singers do. He's got the hair, and he comes out and the wind's blowing. So, and I've seen him live a few times. So I was fully expecting a little tiny bit of a prima donna. Okay. Could not have been more pleasantly surprised. Absolutely down to earth, cool guy.
Brian, we're going to get back to you in one second, but I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to say anything, Kevin. I wasn't going to say anything, but you brought it up. Did you catch him throwing a little shade my way?
No, I didn't catch that. How?
Remember when I set him up? You know how I do. I play dumb. I'm not asking questions for my curiosity. Most of the time it's for my people. It's for my audience. I am a host. I'm an interviewer. I'm setting it up for the audience at large. And I asked him, Nad, can you tell us what the meaning of your new album, Monumentata, means? And do you remember what his first response was to that before he answered the question?
He answered the question. That's all I remember.
Did. Oh, no. He started out by saying, I would have.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You didn't read the liner notes. I do remember him saying that.
Come on, man. You don't.
We want you on for an interview so that we can ask you a question and you can say, see the liner notes of the new album.
Oh, my. He was trying, your boy. He was. He absolutely was. I think Nad was a little uncomfortable at first. I really do.
Oh, I found him very charming myself. For him to keep trying to make that thing work. Good for him. Most people would have said, I'm not doing this.
I would have. I would have said, this ain't working. No, thank
you. Yeah, we were ready to chuck it in. He's like, no, let's keep trying.
Yeah, but once he got that good connection, I think he figured out the vibe of the show, because I don't think anybody warned him when the snakes came out. I don't think he was prepared, Kevin.
I think Pete, here's something that people may not know that surprises me when we've done these interviews is you'd think they would be the ones that are really busy and I got places to go. Let's wrap this thing up. So when the show always ends, we then do the little business take it. I'm surprised how many of these artists absolutely want to hang out and keep talking. Oh, yeah. And we're the ones having to kind of hey, we got somewhere to go. And that surprises me. They don't get tired, some of these people, about talking about their music and what they do. And that's great for you, obviously.
Oh, no, I almost felt guilty because we had Annie Haslam on for a while.
She's a good example.
we got, you guys aren't privy to it because obviously we went off air, but she had us talking for like another half hour, 45 minutes, and I got the distinct
and that's Annie
impression.
Haslam. You'd think she'd have stuff to do, but she just likes talking about her music.
I got the distinct impression that we could have gone at least another 2 hours with her,
and you could have had her on the next day, and she would have done it.
Yeah, I need to ask her back on.
Yeah, for sure. She should come back on. She'd love doing it. So
she can talk about anything she wants.
Yeah.
Just like Brian. Brian can be on the show anytime he wants. It doesn't have to be aligned to, I don't know, the release of a brand new album called The Last Pink Glow featuring, I don't know, some dude from some band you may have heard of, Tony Banks from Genesis. A real coup, Brian. So proud of you. This record is really, really good. And it's easy to get your filthy little hands on. You can pick it up at rockinghorsemusic.com. You can pick it up at Burning Shed. And I recommend that you do. So, I know a lot of people will be curious if there's any kind of live shows in the works. Because I know with your previous album, little hard to do a show, right? Like you said, it was like a rock opera thing with a million different singers and stuff like that. It would seem a little easier maybe to put this thing on the road. Any thoughts there?
Yes. Yeah. We actually a couple of weeks ago, we performed, debuted a couple of songs at the Town and the City Festival, which is, again, kind of named after a Kerouac novel in Lowell. So now we're going to spend the summer rehearsing for shows that we're going to do in the autumn. We're going to do a show at my buddy Jerry LaFaro's place up here in New Hampshire. He calls his place the LaFaro Center of the Performing Arts, which is basically his barn. But he gets people, like Prague people that are coming to America and want to do a warm-up show, kind of test the gear and stuff. So, like, I know Billy Sherwood is playing there, and the Stickmen have played there. So he has good. So we're going to play there in October. And then October 12th, we're playing the Lowell Celebrates Kerouac Festival. And then we head overseas to play at Trading Boundaries in England in November. So we're going to do two shows.
Trading Boundaries in the UK, calling all Londoners and people that live in the greater southeast England area. And I'm looking right at you, Jerry Ewing. I got nothing but mad respect for you, bro. You are one of the most important people in our entire beloved genre. The work you do is sublime. I'm a lifelong subscriber, brother. You don't have to worry about me throwing a hissy fit and canceling my subscription. Dude, it's never going to happen. You have my undying loyalty and support. That's why I feel free to call you out when you're dead wrong. And sir, you are dead wrong if you ignore Rocking Horse Music Club. And you can get a gander at them firsthand because they're going to be right there in your neck of the woods. So I'm calling out. The gauntlet has been laid down. The challenge has been laid out for you and all your cohorts there at Prog Magazine. Let's make it happen because, Brian, I am truly, truly impressed by this record. There's something about the immediacy of this thing. And maybe it's just that you got Justin singing, all the way through all the tracks. And I love his voice. People say crisscross. Kevin, you and I came to a different,
I said singer. David Gates.
Absolutely David Gates, man. He's got David Gates written all over him. And here, I'm going to throw a weird
one. If you guys ever put a Bread cover band together, you will sell out every night with that voice.
Especially on that last track, bro. The title track. It's haunting how much he sounds like David Gates. But
I love his voice because when you can do that kind of falsetto, it's kind of a falsetto-ish thing. So effortlessly and so consistently, that's rare. Again, Christopher Cross and David Gates. So, yeah, he's got a phenomenal voice.
Justin would do well on a yacht rock tour.
Yeah, he would, bro. He would. But he actually reminds me at times, and this is going to be a little bit out there, of the lead singer of the Dismemberment Plan, Travis Morrison. I hear him as a complete cross between Travis Morrison and David Gates, which is wild because I know he's probably never heard that, but you never know. The Dismemberment Plan is a good Boston band. You never know.
Yeah, I don't think Justin is aware of them. So, but that's an interesting take.
Yeah, just having him sing all the way through the album, to me, gives the album some cohesion. To me, it's an absolute beautiful listen, start to finish. And it's got some real interesting high points. I wanted to talk. We talked briefly before we went on about a couple tracks that have really caught my full attention. Obviously, the one we just listened to with the mighty Tony Banks appearing and co-writing, but the Ballad of Joe Martin. Man, that song is amazing. It doesn't sound super proggy at all to me. In fact, it might be the least prog track on the whole record, but I can't stop listening to that record. What is that one about?
Yeah, so that's about Jack Kerouac's racist father.
Nice.
We can say, yes, it's kind of a, rock Americana thing, but the verses are actually in 6/4, which gives it a tiny bit of prog cred. Sure. It's subtle, and we didn't intentionally do it in 6/4. Justin and I wrote that with a local buddy of ours who's a former Nashville singer, songwriter named Dusty Gray. And how about that for a great country?
I love that.
Dusty
That's perfect.
Gray. That's his name. And so it was only after the fact we put the song down that we were like, hey, wait, this isn't in 4/4. So the verses are 6. So that makes it a little proggy. So I'll
take it. That's right. We'll take it. I knew there was something about that track that got me going.
That's like the 3 a.m. track on Circus. It's so not really proggy, but man, what a great song that is. That 3 a.m. song on the last album.
Sometimes it don't matter if the song is that good.
No.
Now, the following track was another one, Brian, that really caught my attention. Changing Channels, little more up-tempo, really cool, kind of a frenetic guitar figure. To my ear, it kind of made me think of like XTC meets Tears for Fears almost kind of territory. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's like fast becoming my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that is very much a Tears for Fears influenced song, as is the Ballad of Wesley Martin is another one that's Tears for Fears inspired.
The two ballad songs.
Yeah.
They're both good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Changing Channels, that initial drum loop, that actually came from an old Alesis synth, from the 1990s that I kind of chopped up and processed a little bit. And then, I put some chords down, the CP7, a lot of CP70 on that song. And then, that's Andrew Rotuno, the new guitar player, and I kind of worked on some melodies for the verses of that. And then I wrote the melody on the chorus. And then Justin always comes in and tweaks my ideas and makes them better. And, then there's the big kind of homage to Tony Banks with all the synths that happen that we just kind of take off at the end into this instrumental bit that was very Tony Banksy.
And I love how all the way through the album there's little moments where nobody's trying to sound like Tony, right? There's only one Tony, but there's moments where there's certain, voicings, where you hear the Tony Banks chord, right? That second inversion. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But nothing's like a total ripoff, but it all really feels Banksian, and I just love those little callbacks to Tony throughout the album, which you should do. You've got Tony on the album; it'd be foolish not to, right?
Well, when we were working on The Haunted Life, the song that we did with Tony, I came back from England with the music from Tony, and it was kind of originally it was just a demo sketch. I don't think Tony or I thought that his performance was going to be on the record. And the first thing we did was we put drums to it. And then each step of the way, I had to kind of like, well, wait a minute, am I going to lean into the Genesis influence, or am I going to try to take it in an absolute opposite direction?
Right.
But it felt so natural. I mean, obviously Genesis was a big influence for me growing up. And here we have a Tony Banks harmonic progression and his sound on the keyboards and his melody. So there was just no way it was not going to sound like Genesis. So then I leaned into it. Myron Kibbe played an electric 12-string guitar, and I added Taurus pedals. And then, so I think the only concession to trying to maybe make it a little less Genesis or more modern, I added some kind of the noisy synth sounds, the industrial type of things here that kind of come in and out. That was me, and I remember listening to an early mix with my wife, and Michelle said, "Ugh, what's that? Are you gonna keep that in? You're ruining something that sounds so pretty." And I said,
"Yes, I am putting that in, honey."
That's what's it's going to make it a little bit edgier, because I do think to some degree The Haunted Life would have fit better on Circus of Wire Dolls, because our brief on the last Pink Glow was to try to make it a little more guitar driven and a little bit more industrial and harsh, whereas Circus of Wire Dolls was pastoral and warm and analog. There are a lot of like noisy digital synths on this, and there aren't as many big synth pads. It's a little bit more ambient on the keyboard side. And there's some heavy, some of the heaviest guitar that we've ever played on a record, on songs like If We're Silent and We Listen.
Love that song.
And the middle section of the title track, The Last Pink Glow, that's Andrew, really, really chugging away through an old Marshall amp, and then doubled with, the Eddie Van Halen 5150 amp. So that's not what I would traditionally go for on more of a, David Gilmour, Steve Hackett, Steve Rothery type of guitar tone. But it worked. We did a lot of JC 120, those clean chorusy type things. When you hear the clean guitar on Marillion, there is a lot of that on the record. But the record kind of, if we listen, the record kind of tells us what it's going to be. It's kind of, some of it's out of our control.
If we're silent and we listen.
There you go.
The record reveals itself to us.
Exactly.
And that ties into the whole clickbaity title that Kevin concocted for this episode, which I guess here we are 48 minutes in. We can actually talk about why we love concept albums so much. And I'm guilty as the next guy, bro. If you tell me this is just a collection of songs, whatever, it's like, maybe I'll listen to it. You tell me it's a concept album and it's based around Jack Kerouac, I don't know why. All of a sudden, my ears prick up. I'm a little more interested. It's that prog mind state, I guess, that lizard brain of the prog fan, and where we like to be able to, decode things and figure stuff out. Talk to me a little bit about your background with the concept album, Brian. Are there any concept albums you grew up with that led you down this hideous path of concept album creation?
Yeah, there certainly are. The Pink Floyd, the great Pink Floyd ones. Dark Side and Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall. That was those were seminal moments. And then, some early ones. I want to bring a couple of controversial ones.
Do it.
Styx's Paradise.
Yeah.
Theater. Woo! When this record came out, I was I fancied myself as a writer, more than a musician. And I found the concept of it, just really charming. And obviously this record was a huge commercial success and all the kids at school were listening to it. But I think I took something else away from it, because I was also listening to Pink Floyd and, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway and Tommy by The Who.
Yeah.
Those were early ones, but I think,
hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Tommy versus Quadrophenia.
Yeah. I was making a list of mine and I did that same thing. Ooh, 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 ooh.
I swear I'm doing that episode. I swear I'm doing my Tommy versus Quadrophenia episode because honestly, there aren't many bands that have put together 2 albums that I rate as an 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
And no, Who did it with those 2?
All for me. Yeah. I mean, Tommy was first for me. Yeah. So your first love. Right. That's the reason that I brought. It's the reason I brought Tommy out with me. Understood. But yeah, that'd be a tough one if you had to decide. I mean, for me, not that these are concept albums, but A Trick of the Tail or Wind and Wuthering. Right. I keep going back and forth between which of those is my favorite Genesis record. But in answer to the question that Kevin posed on the thumbnail for this, why do we? And I think if you indulge me for 1 second, I think I have a theory on that. From a musician standpoint and from a listener standpoint, prog is so identified with the music aspect of it and the virtuosity of the music and the grandiosity of, long songs and the music taking you on an adventure, that the lyrics and the concept needs to step up the game to match the music, right? And then the broad scope of the music allows bigger concepts to be explored in a record, right? And I guess that would be my take on it. And I'm with you, Scott. I mean, I've always, I've got Marillion albums, I've got Small Creeps Day, I've got Brian Wilson's Smile, I've got Marillion's Brave, I've got Marillion's Misplaced Childhood. Those are some of my favorite records. And I always wondered if it's me because of my literary background that I tend to go with, I'd rather listen to a novel than a short story. Yeah.
I think
I think sometimes too, the band, they get a different attitude about a concept album. Like they almost feel like we're going to make a masterpiece here. A little bit more than we're just making an album with 10 songs on it. They get a mindset of we're going to really create something magical and special. Similitude of a Dream. I mean, obviously Neil's done a bunch of concepts, but Similitude, such a great album because they approached it that way. Yeah. Thick as a Brick, obviously the greatest concept album of all time in my view. The Wall, The Lamb Lies Down, perfect example for Genesis. Yeah. So I think it brings the best out in these artists.
I don't think there's any such thing as a low stakes concept album. You can have a low stakes album as an artist. I just got some good songs, labels breathing down my back. Artistically, I've got the wind at my back. I could put out a, record and I may not try too hard, but it'll still do fine. It's not one of, there are times and places for that. I don't think the concept album has ever been the time or place for that. It always is a statement. It's always important in a band's career trajectory because you're doing something big and epic just by the very definition of what it is. A story arc encompassing a whole record. That is an artistic endeavor that even the Beatles, even though Sgt. Pepper's isn't really a concept album, they took it seriously. They understood it. And from there, the album as a piece of art has become part and parcel of being a prog rock fan. And Kevin, if you'll indulge me, since it's my show, I can do whatever I want. I'm going to talk about why that art is still alive and well today. We were talking about Rocking Horse Music Club. Obviously, Exhibit A, I'm going to give you clowns a couple more. You know how I do. Oh, yeah. You know how I do. How about Dream Theater's masterpiece, Scenes from a Memory, Metropolis 2? That's how you do a concept album.
And it brings out the best of them. I'm telling you.
It's not even my favorite kind of prog. And you know that, Kevin. I don't love that kind of music, but man, oh man, that album is a 10 out of 10. But this is a little bit more my speed. Telling this tale of Martin Luther. Oh yeah, Neil Morris, Sola Scriptura. This is how you do a concept album. And I love it. I guess halfway through writing it and recording it, Neil was starting to get some feedback from some of his friends. And it's like, this Martin Luther guy, he was kind of questionable in terms of like his anti-Semitism and stuff like that. Please back off. Maybe you're coming down a little bit too hard on Rome, et cetera, et cetera. Neil dug in his heels and he did not retreat. And he put out an absolute stone cold masterpiece. I don't care if you like Green Day or not. This is a masterpiece. This is how you do a concept album, boys and girls. And it begs the question that I've always asked. If you do a concept album and you do it right, are you not by definition skirting the outskirts of prog rock no matter what you do? Aren't you kind of getting into prog territory no matter what? I think the answer is a resounding yes. Over the last couple of years, there have been some great concept records. None better than Logos, Milagro y Le Mil Grud del Carta. Milagro and the 1,000 paper cranes telling the story of the bombing of Hiroshima and a girl that got radiation poisoning. And she was told if she folds 1,000 paper cranes, she'll be cured. She got to number 400. Didn't make it. What an amazing story. They sell this in the gift shop at the Peace Monument in Hiroshima. They actually sell the CD of this. It's Logos. Just an absolute incredible masterpiece. Talk about masterpiece concept albums, Kevin. It's the 3-part Chronicles of Father Robin. Oh, you know how much I love me some Norwegian prog. 3 parts, 3 albums, all amazing. And my dude JPL just put out a new record called Postscriptum. This follows a 3-part concept, which of course we've got right at hand. Exordium, my favorite album of 2020 by far. A 12 out of 10 record, Kevin. It gets not any better than this record. Love every second of it. Part 2, Do Ex Machina. A slight step down, I must say. I was a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. Before part 3 came out, I was a little scared if that trend continued. Oh no. Nothing to worry about. JPL knocked it out of the park for part 3. What's this one called? Actum. Oh, yeah. And finally, talking about modern concept albums and how to do it the right way, shout out to my good friends, Capricar's Constant and the Murder Wall. Man, I love this thing. It's got David Jackson. It's got his wife, Dory, who's got a brand new solo album out, which you guys should check out. But the Murder Wall by Capricar's Constant, their 3rd album. Very cool mathematical equation if you guys want to play around with numbers, which I had to do. I had to Google it. Like, what is this Capricar's Constant? So I had to Google it and play around. And it's like, you take these numbers, put them in order one way, and then you do it backwards, and then you get the difference. And then it always turns out to be that one number. No matter what numbers you pick, it always ends up the same. It's, numbers are cool. Numbers are weird.
So is that your list? Because there's a few you missed that I'm surprised that you would have normally. Tails, of course.
You know what? I just wanted to go with some modern ones.
Yeah. The Osmonds, The Plan.
Oh, yeah.
Which proves the point. Yeah. You can take any band and you say, go make a concept album. It's going to prog it up a bit.
It's kind of proggy. We got Will's Rush page in the house. Yes, again.
And then Samurai of Prague. Samurai of Prague. I mean, it could go on endless, all the concept albums that they've done in such a brilliant way.
Well, Hand Cannot Erase.
Yep. A couple that I had that just kind of out there, the Kinks soap opera. Once again, take a band that just normally does music and have them do a concept album. Love that album.
Yeah. So Kevin. I mean, it's interesting about the Kinks because their record company in their early career pushed them single. So they were never really able to do that album until Village Green, and then from there, they just got better and better. But that's all.
Yeah, no. So I love that album. Unexpected from them, but it's brilliant. The Butterfly Ball from Roger Glover. That thing, absolutely love that. Circus of Wire Dolls.
Ronnie James Dio.
The Deer Hunter. Those 5, particularly 4 and 5, Acts 4 and 5, absolutely genius on those 2 albums. The whole thing is great, but those 2 are great.
The early ones are so neat.
Ziggy and the Rise and Fall, David Bowie, brilliance there. So those are some of those that I had in my brain.
We could go on forever. Man.
I normally would have had a graphic, but I was busy putting a good video up.
You did. The people loved it. The people loved the video today. The sound quality, apparently way better. Because from my end, it sounded exactly the same as the last couple weeks. And
then you play it back and you go, oh.
Yeah. Some episodes I just don't play back. You know how that goes.
Like the one when you went to the bathroom in the middle of the live feed.
Now, the less said about that, the better. But our guest today, none other than Brian Coombes from Rocking Horse Music Club. You know who we got next week, Kevin?
Who? Remind me.
I've got the Mommy Heads.
Oh, yeah, nice. I love it. We play them.
Mommy Heads.
We play the Mommy Heads on Prog Radio.
They're cool, right?
Very cool. I mean, it's not super prog with a capital P. It's very, very melodic, poppy stuff. That guy cannot write a song that's not melodic, but it's good stuff.
Here's what we're doing. We're talking about progressive pop next weekend.
No, perfect.
So we can be talking about our 10cc's. We can be talking about our Super Tramps, our XTCs, our Alan Parsons, Ambrosia. Oh, man.
Well, that's my sweet spot at Prog Radio. People know that.
So, that's what we're talking about with the Mommy Heads. I'm going to show up a little bit more. They sent me a whole slew of stuff. They sent me that vinyl.
Nice.
They sent me a whole bunch of their CDs, which I've listened to exactly 2 of so far. They got a lot of records out. These guys have been
they crank them out. They crank them out
for a long time.
Watch some of their videos too, are fun.
They're the Mommy Heads. They know a little something about progressive pop. So we're gonna be putting together our lists. How should we do it next week, Kevin? Should we do our 10 favorite prog pop songs?
Yeah, you could do song, album, or artist. Take your pick.
Let's do songs.
Probably songs, yeah.
Yeah, let's do songs.
Because even some of the hardcore prog bands, boom, they'll spit out that occasional candy,
Sure.
So those will be fun to put them in there. If you go album and artist, they won't get mentioned. So
that's right. Like it. That opens it up pretty much to the full 9. So that is next weekend. And then the following weekend, May 25th, we're going old school, man. We're bringing the gang back in. It's going to be me, Kevin. I think we got Cody. I think we got Kiefer. I think we got Wayne. I don't know who all we got, but we're going to be ranking our 10 favorite Black Sabbath songs.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, nice. Man. We've never really talked about Black Sabbath on the channel, which is my bad because, honestly, is Black Sabbath prog?
Moments.
Of course
first
they
album,
are.
absolutely.
They are. 100% they are. I don't want to hear
And they also fit into that pop prog, some of their later stuff. So
yeah, that is true. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then after that, let's see, we've got almost a clean calendar, but I do want to announce the return of Charlie Bramall. We've got the great Charlie versus Baz feud. I don't know if you've been following it on Facebook.
You cannot dance to prog.
Yeah, it's gotten nasty. The eternal question: can you or can you not dance to the prog rock? Charlie and I believe with our whole hearts the answer is 1,000% no. You cannot. If you can, it's not prog. Absolutely. Baz is, you've seen him now. He's ripped, right? He's looking all tough and mean and stuff. I'm Baz. I play in some Spriggan Mist band. Come on, man. The name of your band's terrible. Charlie's band is called Ghost of the Machine. That's tough and cool, right? And now Charlie, we love you. I haven't seen you in the comments, so I don't know why I'm kissing your ass there. But Charlie, we love you. He is now a permanent member of the French band Nine Skies. Did you see that, Kevin?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
He was a guest vocalist on their last album. He is now a permanent official member of the French prog band Nine Skies.
That's
Charlie, superstar, right? Charlie Bramall, superstar versus Baz. June 22nd on the show. Oh, the great battle begins. We're gonna settle it once and for all. You know where I stand.
I say you pop on,
turn
it on again, and watch him dance to it, because you'd think
right.
you could, but you may not have a tough time doing it.
You can't do it. Come on. You look absolutely ridiculous if you try. I believe Brian's probably on the side of good here, or perhaps you fall on the side of evil. What says you, Brian?
Well, I tell you what.
Come on, good or evil? What's it going to be?
No, I don't think you can dance to Prague. Tristan Park, we had a song on one of our records that was in 13/8, and we were playing a show in Holland, and there were a group of guys in the front that were trying to, kind of pump along to it, and they were also trying to keep time with it. And then they started counting, and I was playing bass at the time, and it was just my role to just keep driving the 13. And I got so transfixed on them in the front row trying to dance to it that they threw me off.
Oh, nice. You see how that works?
And then trying to get back on the train in 13/8, I had to wait for a whole measure to come back around before I could come back in. So no, you can't.
You can bop, but that's it.
Bop, you can't dance. No, I mean there's as Genesis said, I can't dance. We can't dance.
So our guest today, Brian Coombes, he who has, we didn't even talk about this record. Oh, where'd it go? They were talking about it in the comments, the Anthony Phillips record. Such a fantastic record. Every Change of Seasons.
Yeah, the first one. We're doing a lot of songs from that now.
Are you? Cool,
yeah.
Cool. Of course, everybody knows The Circus of Wire Dolls. Kevin's favorite album of 2022. And the new one.
Yeah.
The Last Pink Glow. Available now on his website, rockinghorsemusicclub.com. Or if you're in the UK, go to Burning Shed. Definitely a record you have to hear, and it features none other than our beloved Prague God. Hey, even Prague Magazine named him a Prague God. He's on the new album, not just as a guest musician, but also co-writes one of the songs on this thing. It's an enormous accomplishment. Fantastic record. Thank you for spending some time with us this Sunday, Brian.
Thanks to both of you guys. I appreciate the invite.
This was a lot of fun. We world premiered. So if you're just catching it right now, boys and girls, you got a progress bar when you're watching a video, right? You put your little finger there and you go, ooh, and you can watch it right now. Do that thing. Watch the video. Watch it a few times because the analytics will love that. It's the brand new track we just debuted, world debut of the song, The Haunted Life, off the new album by Rocking Horse Music Club. Brian, this was a real treat. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Let's do it again.
I say so. Kevin, what's going on in the world of prog radio this week?
We've got, I'll make a world premiere announcement here. We've got a new iPhone app that's going to be coming out, which is new and improved and pretty darn cool. And it supports CarPlay and does some really cool things. So that'll be coming out in the next week or so.
Fun. Nice.
We've been working hard on that, in addition to our new channel, The Dragon's Tower, for heavy metal, prog metal.
Not one, not two, but 3 channels of great prog rock for your 24-hour listening entertainment, your commercial-free entertainment listening. Come on now.
And this CarPlay version is super cool because once it's playing in your CarPlay, you can just hit the skip and it goes to the next channel. You hit the skip, and it just rotates through the 3 channels. Great. So there'll always be a song you want to hear on prog radio.
No doubt. Maybe even one on that prog metal channel. Trust me. There's great prog in every single nook and cranny of this world. So, Jerry Ewing, I understand. There's a whole lot of prog out there. So it can be hard, even for professionals such as you and I. But professional to professionals, sir, we need to correct this injustice. We need to correct it right now. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Another great episode. I'm probably going to be taking it easy this week. It is the wife's birthday week. And I also must prepare for the return of the son of Clickbait Week. Oh, it's going to be an amazing accomplishment. One of the greatest weeks in the history of mankind coming your way. So yeah, I got to work my way up for that. There's a lot of preparation that goes into, such an incredible, monumental task as entertaining you clowns. Anyway, boys and girls, I love you. Peace in the Middle East. Free the Ukraine. Free Tibet. Free your mind. Free beer. Free Willie, and God save the king. Oh, Brian Coombes, he knows a little something. He spends a little bit of time in London. Oh, yeah. So he knows about that king. So he should know better, being an American, that king needs to come on over here. Oh, yeah, he does. He needs to swim on over here. Oh, yeah. Swim on over here to America, big boy. Oh, I'm taking these headphones off. Oh, yeah, I am. Because you know what's going to happen? We're going to drink poison. We're going to do thoughts and prayers. Oh, our prayer warriors are working overtime for you, buddy boy. Oh, yes, they are. Oh, so you can put that poison down, because I got a little something better for you. It's the rattlesnakes. Oh, no. Oh, Kevin, look out. The rattlesnakes, they just keep getting bigger and bigger. Oh, they're coming after you. Oh, no, Jesus. Oh, help me. Anyway, boys and girls, I'll see you when I see you. I love you. Peace. If I can find the button to turn off the live stream, we'll be off. Yes, sir. Bobcat Tail. I love you guys.